Yeah. Here we go. Listen to this.
To a crescendo. Everything is building up in terms of tension and readiness and expectation. And the people on the platform are waiting. The guard is ready. And all of a sudden the whistle blows. The fireman says right away, he shuts the firebox door so that the cold air isn't drawn through over the fire, but through it underneath. Confirms that the signal's off. The driver slams the cock shut if the engine's hot, but leaves them open if they're not, and goes for the regulator. And he gives it a big tug. And as I've said, he works to the steam chest pressure gauge to avoid slipping. He might need a bit of sand. Sand slows the train down as it follows. And the other thing sand does, it destroys the electrical contact for signal and telegraph use. You'd pull out of Waterloo, have a look across on the fireman's side to Big Ben, which you used to be able to see, and check
what time they actually sent you off.
And then you'd pull over all the points and crossings until you got down onto the down main through. And then you'd accelerate the engine with a little more regulator, start pulling the reverser back from full gear to about 50%, back to 40%. The engine would be rising along 40 miles an hour through Vauxhall at 40 miles an hour, let the engine increase its speed, then down to Clapham, 60 miles an hour past the Clapham washing plant. He would put the blower on slightly to avoid the blowback, slam the regulator shut, and the engine would then coast at 60 miles an hour towards Clapham Junction, where there was a
2 men taking 750 tons from 0 to 60
Clapham, the speed would sink
in
to
7 minutes
without having to use the brake. And then
through central London.
Your way round the bend at Clapham, you'd open up the regulator again and drive it up the hill to Earlsfield and down into Wimbledon. And you had 7 minutes to pass Clapham from starting away at Waterloo, and that was quite difficult to do.
But an average speed of 65.
Minutes.
I think that's
They'd hope to make up time galloping at 85 or 90 miles an hour through the countryside, and there are stories of bullets topping a ton towards the end of steam.
Either way, the same story applied to those engines that did achieve 100 miles an hour. The earliest 100-mile-an-hour steam record in the world is not 4 miles from where I sit.
This was simply
it was set in 1905,
everything's running beautifully. Your fireman is working like
or possibly set in 1901, but not confirmed until 1905.
Neither of you saying a word to each other, but everything just beautifully managed.
The downhill slope towards Wellington at Whiteball Tunnel. I believe this is a castle class. GWR class, castle class, but it was achieved by a Victorian locomotive. I mean, that's phenomenal. Within the space of 100 years, you've been able to move to the point of travelling comfortably at speeds approaching 100 miles an hour, when a century before we had no idea that people could survive in coaches travelling at such speeds. 2 locomotives on the same train, that's something that was regular at the uphill Wellington end, and that made Wellington an important station. So it's quite an interesting concept. I'm going off to paint my potential layout of what did we going to describe it as? The first solar powered model railway in Somerset. Local history. They've just taken that tunnel and lined it. Not changing the tracks, I mean the brickwork. In fact, that could be it. Coming uphill at Beam Bridge, I'll tell you in a minute. No, I don't believe. But the rolling stock is the type I've got, and whatever. So last night I was looking at the track plans in 1950 for Wellington. It's Taunton, Norton Fitzwarren, Wellington, pool siding, Wellington, Burlescombe, Tiverton Junction. Wellington's a simple passing loop. That's really quite nice to model. That gets you into local trains and expresses, plus some light goods. Just probably very important. Anyway, Tiverton Junction, that's quite a complicated little number. There's 2 branch lines depart from there, and the layout is interesting, because of course now it's just a parkway. A train stop on the main line, can you believe it? I tried looking up the signal box diagrams. I had the I had the book of it here somewhere once. GWR signal box diagrams. It's not on the internet, that's for sure. Well, some of it is, but you've got to pay for it on CD-ROM. Length is the issue. Modelling 10 kilometres in... well, you can cut the tunnel out, couldn't you? You could park the train in the middle of the tunnel. Because the train's not a kilometre long, is it? So you could simulate the timetable in real time by pausing the train on the main line, which you wouldn't do normally, but you could just imagine this is in a different time zone to that one. God, I was watching the bloke pulling the levers at Exeter Central no, not Central, Exeter St David's Station. What a job, all day long, pulling lever after lever after lever. They even had to have somebody writing down in the book for him. There's 2 blokes working together all day, every day, for years on end, and providing and on top of that, you've got to impose change. Because technology comes along. Rate of change of technology. Okay, I'm going to pause this video at that stage.